You're listening to Fast Facts, Ask the Expert with Katrina Sanders, brought to you in part by our friends at TheraBreath. Stay tuned after the episode for a special message.
Hello, and welcome back to Ask the Expert with Katrina Sanders. I am so excited for this week's question because this question or this prompt is really something that dentistry has needed to focus on for a very long time, and finally we are. That is, what dry mouth products really need to include on their ingredient list. You flip over the back of the box or the bottle. What things need to be on that list? Now, if you're anything like me, when you were in dental or dental hygiene school, we were really focused around remineralization therapy in dry mouth products. And I don't mean to say that we shouldn't focus on that, but what I do mean to say is that became like the number one focus. You have dry mouth and we need to talk about remineralizing the teeth. When perhaps what we needed to consider was, if my patient has dry mouth, do they also have challenges with the pH in their mouth, where we need to be focused around maybe buffering their saliva? If my patient has dry mouth, do they have challenges with appropriately digesting the food beginning in their mouth? If my patient has dry mouth, are those soft tissues uncomfortable? And should we perhaps be looking at products to help support that? So to take a little bit of a deep dive here, we know that saliva is a magic potion that has lots of important critical modalities inside of it. So primarily, saliva is mostly made of water, and that water is really important. It helps keep the mouth wet, helps with talking, chewing, and swallowing the food. And so the sensation of hydration, we're all doing this, right? We're all swallowing right now as we're talking about saliva. That sensation of saliva being able to create that mucousy coating of our food, sliding it down our throat becomes really important. And so some of the ingredients that we should be looking at inside of dry mouth products should help to create that watery feeling in the mouth or even stimulate that. But also we need to be looking at some of the other components in saliva, things like enzymes, like amylase. Salivary amylase is an enzyme that helps to break down food, particularly our starches. When we don't have ample amounts of salivary amylase to begin the digestive process before it enters into the stomach, it can actually augment or change how we both digest and metabolize or uptake nutrients from our foods. Then we also need to look at things like antibodies or lysozyme. There are critical defenders inside of our saliva that help to fend off pathogenic or disease-producing bacteria and help to keep the mouth clean and healthy by restabilizing the oral microbiome. So, a few critical ingredients that I hope you will consider when your patients present with dry mouth and you are prescribing or recommending a product or series of products for your patients. The first is going to be things that help to soothe the oral tissues. There are lots of natural soothers, humectants like glycerin, or even natural products like aloe vera, which do a beautiful job of soothing and moisturizing those oral tissues. We also want to look at important ingredients that we can actually include inside of dry mouth products that help to replace some of the functions of saliva. Those will be things like amylase. And yes, there are in fact dry mouth products on the market that contain amylase, mimicking saliva's natural function to break down starches. We also want to look at things like lysozyme or other kinds of antimicrobials, because things like lysozyme or antimicrobials help to protect against pathogenic or disease-producing bacteria and promote oral health. Finally, we even want to look at things that can stimulate saliva, like xylitol, a natural sugar substitute that stimulates that salivary production and subsequently helps to prevent further dryness. You know, as we look at some of these critical modalities, preserving pH, stimulating salivary flow, and replacing some of our own natural elements of saliva with dry mouth products, it really gives us the opportunity to help not only address our key remineralization needs. Yes, things like sodium or stannous fluorides can help to strengthen and remineralize those hard tissues. But thinking beyond that into the importance of a stable pH that aids in neutralizing our salivary pH, as well as some of these critical ingredients and their functions that help to optimize an approach for these dry mouth patients, becomes incredibly critical. Well, thank you so much for joining me, Katrina Sanders, for another important episode looking at how we can help to optimize our patients.
Please feel free to reach me on Instagram at The Dental Hygienist or on my website, www.katrinasanders.com. Cheers.
Thank you for tuning in to Fast Facts Ask the Expert with Katrina Sanders, and thank you to our partners on this episode, TheraBreath. Dry mouth is a common condition, but it's not always easy to get patients to treat it at home. Some patients may complain about mouth rinses that burn or feel slimy. If that is the case, try recommending the TheraBreath Dry Mouth Formula. It moisturizes and soothes dry mouth symptoms immediately and contains naturally sourced salivary enzymes that stimulate saliva production. The tingling mint flavor provides a pleasant, tingling rinsing experience, and we all know patients are more likely to use something that they enjoy. If you want to try a free sample, visit oralcarepro.com/TheraBreath. That's oralcarepro.com/TheraBreath.